Good morning, everybody. I hope you're up to painting another really cool painting today. I'm gonna do an oil demonstration, so it's really helpful to put on a glove just because oils are so hard to wash out. So I only have one glove today. I've been running out of my gloves, so normally I put another one on my left hand too. So I want to do something very, very simple and fun today. Just kind of like playing with oils, see what they can do, not have any sort of complicated techniques in mind. And using a really tiny canvas. I have this one today. I bought them at some sale that was happening at Michael's some time ago. I think they're meant for some sort of crafts because they have these pins here. You can take them out and paint these sides too if you want. It's all canvas here wrapping around. It's a 6x6. And it's just it's a really well constructed canvas. I think I paid $1 for it. I bought a bunch. And I'm gonna show you something else I painted on the surface as a demo for one of my classes. I taught at Abernathy Center. So with this one we used a red underlaying tone and then build up on that. Maybe I'll do a lesson like that next week. So they're really cute, tiny, easy to showcase. They can even sit somewhere on your table. You can hang them. Again, you can paint the sides if you want, but it's really fun to paint on small surfaces like this too. So that's what we're gonna do today. Tiny canvas and a palette. This palette can be used both for oils and for acrylics. The really cool thing is that it has the value, scale, and color wheel on the back. I actually received this as part of one of the awards that I won. Sometimes they send you supplies. Company. This is a U.S.-based company, Richson. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Let's see. Richson. They do art supplies here in the U.S. and they sell directly to stores. You cannot buy as an artist directly from them, but they sponsors a lot of the shows, and they when you win awards, sometimes they send you some of their products to test them out. The reason that I love this palette is because at the end of it, you can just peel it off, throwing in the trash, not have to worry about clean up at all. Also, I just think a gray palette is so helpful because you get to see all the light colors on it. Imagine if you have a palette that's white. All your light colors, like yellows and really light colors, will look dark because everything looks darker on white. But if you use a gray palette, then you get to see better in terms of value. You understand better the value of your lighter colors. So I love using this. And then made by the same company, I have a couple of brushes. I just want to try to keep things as simple as possible. I may not even use this one. It's a rigger brush. And this is a flat brush. They call gray matters. The reason that they especially created for plein air artists who go out and play directly outside in the sun, and they actually tint the hair of this brush to be gray, just so when you paint outside, it won't reflect weirdly. You have color, you have paint on your bristles here, and if they're white, your color starts being perceived differently. So they thought of so much to even gray down their bristles of their of their brushes. That's pretty cool. I love that it has like a really long handle to it, especially when you paint on an easel. You can keep a distance between you and the painting, holding it by the end. But we're gonna paint flat today. So I think that's all we're gonna need. A brush that's not too small, and maybe another one that's skinny to do some tiny little details. And by the way, if you have questions, again, post them in a comment. I'm not able to read them while I talk, but after I finish the video, I'm gonna make sure to read them all, and I will answer as best as I can. Now, what else I have here is mineral spirits. Really useful when you use oils. This what it does, is thins out the paint. And then I have a little container, a glass container. I should be cleaning it out. It's really gooey now, but I use this to put my oil medium. Well, it's almost empty, so I have to add something to it. What I'm using today is some poppy seed oil. Poppy seed oil is very transparent and light, so it tends to yellow less than linseed oil. Artists really love to use it when they, especially with whiter colors. But any kind of oil medium you have, it's fine. Doesn't really matter. In my approach here, maybe it matter for some other type of painting styles, but not for what I'm gonna demonstrate today. And then what it does, again, it's like helps spread and prolong your oil paint, basically. If you buy very fresh paint, this is some paint from the same company that does the palette and does the brushes, Richardson. This one is very fresh. Almost you could use it without using any painting medium, because it's fresh and still very gooey and has a lot of oil, fresh oil in it. But sometimes, because oils can store for a really long time, sometimes your oils are stiffer, and then you really need, it's really helpful to add some of this medium to it to just make it creamy again. So I'm just gonna use the primary colors today. I'm going to have some yellow, some blue. It doesn't really matter which kind of blue. I'm more looking for to have something light and something dark on my palette, so I can have a whole scale of values. That's the phone that I never use. Decided to ring right now. And then I'm also gonna use some red. This happens to be a really bright, beautiful cadmium, but this is what I had handy. So this is enough to paint, to create your entire color wheel. You mix your yellows with your blues, you get your greens, you mix your reds with your yellows, get all the oranges, and then mixing these two reds and blues, get all your purples. One other thing you could do is add something lighter on your palette, like white. What I have today is a really, really light yellow. I don't have white handy, so I'm just going to use this as for my white. It's almost like a white, it's slightly tinted. Doesn't matter that much. See how fresh this paint is? You can see the oil oozing out of it. So I'm not gonna need too much painting medium when my paint for the tube is so oily. All right, so one of the rules, the most important rules with painting oils, and by the way, this is what I'm going to show you today, is called alla prima. Comes from Italian, means from the first go. You're going to finish the painting in one sitting, and it's mostly just as an impression that you have in the moment over something. Doesn't take a long time. You will not come back to paint on it later. The goal is to finish it in one sitting. Having some paper towels is really, really important and helpful. Again, Viva. I just took some off for a big roll. I love them because they're cloth-like. and they don't drip tiny little pieces of paper when you use them. Okay, so I was starting to say, like, one of the most important rules to understand is that with oils, you always have to put fat over lean. And I'm wording it like this because it's more easy to understand. Oils it's a fat. It's very fatty. So if your mineral spirit right here is very lean. It dehydrates everything. It thins out. It can even remove paint, right? You use mineral spirits to remove paint. It dissolves it. So first, if you want to have a little underpainting or something to start out with, you only use your mineral spirits to begin with. That will make the oil dry really quick. It's not completely gonna dry, but it won't be thick and sticky anymore. And then you add your painting medium. So you don't want to start with this first. This always after the thinner. And the reason for it is, imagine oils, because it takes weeks to dry. And if you have thick layer of oil and then you put some thinner on top of it that dries out, will just dry out a little pellicula on top of your painting, and then the oil underneath will not have the opportunity to dry properly anymore, and can even start going bad and spoil on the back, and like a mold or whatnot. And plus, if you have a lot of thick oil, it will just cause that mess to collapse and create wrinkles. It's really unpleasant surface to have in oils. So what I do, I just put it away after I use it, so I won't be tempted to go in it again. And another thing that I have here is some in a pickle jar, because my jar broke, but I could still use the spiral. This is to clean up the brushes at the end. The spiral you use so you can press your brush against it, so you can clean it up better. And after I clean up my brushes, so this is a separate jar. I don't mix it with my thinner here. I try to keep this clean for painting. After I'm done painting and I'm washing my brush over there, I just use paper towel to remove as much excess as possible. And then at the end you can use anything, even liquid washing detergent they use for your dishes, or you can buy a soap. I think I have this. And then you use this. This is specially designed to wash brushes. Or I just use to remove any extra excess you might have in your brush, and that way you can keep your brushes for a long time. This is the difference between watercolor and oils. You really need to wash your brushes with oils. All right, so what I'm thinking today is to show you a little bit of something I've discovered by playing. And I call it the subtractive method or the twinkle method. The reason I call it twinkle is because it's named after one of my students. I love her so much. It's a long story behind it. Maybe I'll say it one day. So it's just a made-up term, the twinkle method, but sounds so much funner, isn't it? So I mixed a little bit of all of these colors. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to get as neutral as possible, but doesn't quite matter what color I use. I just want to get something dark. And then I'm just going to very loosely and liberally apply it on my canvas. Maybe I'll add dipping in different piles here just to vary my wash. Guess you don't call it a wash with oils, but since I paint watercolors, I'm intermixing terms now. Oh, by the way, a lot of you, I hear some of my students say, I'm an oil person, or I'm a watercolor person, I'm an acrylic person, but I promise you, the only reason you would feel you're leaning towards one medium more than another, it's just because you know to use it better. If you would learn to use and understand the characteristic of a different medium, that would be your medium too. You would love it. That's the only reason you like one medium over another. You just know more of how to use it. You can fall in love with all mediums if you would just spend more time in discovering what can you achieve with them. So I'm just mixing up. I want to have a really interesting surface here with going from one color to another. Also, I'm really a big fan of looseness. It's just so freeing and so fun. Don't have to stay and pick at it something really carefully. Maybe that's cool too for some purposes too. Maybe if you use one of those adult coloring books, you know, and it just puts you in sort of a meditative state of just feeling up perfect. But when I paint, I just love to have fun, to be quick, to release some sort of an energy, you know, and not be so uptight about it. Let's see what else. And I have not even used this yet, and maybe I don't even need to. Let's try a little bit, see what happens. You can just use it. I used a little bit at the beginning when I started, and maybe I should have used more, because what happens is it's not gonna lift as easily. I got my brush in the way of my phone stand here. That's why it's moving sometimes. All right, so even darker, why not? Let's get some really dark somewhere, because then you have really beautiful contrast. All right, so I covered the surface. It has a lot of variety in it. It's interesting. And now I'm just gonna use this paper towel to take off some of the paint. See, this is the thing with oils. You cannot really pile up a lot of wet on wet on wet. If you try to come up with something lighter now, it will pick up all that color from underneath, mix it with it, and you won't be able to get your bright colors. But if you lift and remove some of it, the paper towel or with a piece of cloth or even with a clean brush, you can use anything, a rag, then you basically create a space to add lighter colors in there. And I find that this method is so quick and so fun to do. My mouth is already watering. That's because I know I love this so much. So I'm thinking right now some sort of a white flower, or maybe a daisy of some sort. So I'm thinking of how the petals are concentric to, so I picked up, this is imaginary, it's all imaginary, it doesn't really exist on the canvas. But I'm gonna go around, I'm imagining that this would be the middle of my flower, and I'm just gonna go with these petals around, removing paint. And this is so quick and so, you see I'm keep moving, like I got some paint in here, I move it to a different clean spot. It's so rewarding because you have quick results and they look spectacular. They look so good. See how all the colors that I use underneath, I had more yellow, start showing up? It's really cool and interesting of the results you can get with this. Okay, so I'm just removing some. You already got a flower. This is just so great. You can use it for anything. It doesn't really matter what you paint. It doesn't have to be a flower. It can be something else. And I just discovered this on my own by just playing. You know, Albert Einstein said, play is the highest form of research. The highest form of research. I think that's brilliant. You know, I don't know about you, but I was taught as a kid that play is not that important. You know, that, studying and learning, that's important, and play was kind of pushed to a side as something that is not very valuable. But what I'm learning as a grown-up, especially with painting, is that play is absolutely essential if you want to discover new things. You gotta play, otherwise all you're gonna do is just replicate something. If you're learning from an instructor or another artist, you're just gonna end up replicating what they do, but you will not discover anything of your own. So through play, things change, and you can discover all kind of things you never even thought of before just through playing. All right, I'm looking to overlap some of those petals to give it a fullness, and also some are longer, some are shorter, constantly looking for variety. Maybe I'll do another one here. Let's see if it's not too late. Maybe this one is closed. Maybe this flower will be slightly closed up, not opened yet like a bud. Let's see what happens. Removing, and when it gets dirty here, I just move it, turn it a little bit to a clean spot. So this is one that's closed off, so you don't see so much of the openness. It's closing in there. Let's see if I can. I would love to remove right there where I have the biggest contrast. You see my paper towel broke. That's happened sometimes. Another thing you could do is take the end of your brush, put it through your paper towel to get like a skinnier line here. Just, you gotta be careful not to press too much because it's still a paper towel. It's not too strong, but see, you can get like sharper, skinnier lines. Just don't do it twice, because you will just end up putting your paint back in there. You just do it once and then you move around. Let's see what else I can do. Maybe I'll insist a little bit here. Can you hear that sound? I'm really pushing hard. Like that. Another thing you could do is get some thinner on your brush. And if I want to remove here a little bit, see, I don't go where there's a lot of paint because it's going to be hard to remove with this really soft brush. But if I go right here where I already removed, this thinner will help me clean up more of that paint. Can you see if it's getting lighter right there? It's getting lighter right there. And then I do another petal next to it. But again, I'm cleaning the brush after each use because I want to remove. I'm removing paint. Maybe I've discovered this. I'm sure others do it too. But maybe it's because I paint so much of other mediums too, and you end up being tempted to try methods you use with one in another. Like, I love the lifting technique in watercolors. All right. If I want to overdo it, just keep it more simple like that. And maybe I can clean up a little bit here. A couple of these petals. Again, like, you can always add white paint, right? So this is just more like, you don't have to completely bring it back to the white of the canvas because it's not watercolor, it's oil. You can always add a lighter paint. So it's more, the purpose of this is more to remove the paint so you can build up lighter colors. And let's see if I can do another one. Maybe I can do another one here. Where should I put it? Here. This is another flower, and this one is just opening up, so it's in between these two. This one is not opened yet, this one is fully open, and this one is going to be on sort of an in-between. It's like closed up in the back maybe, and then opening up in the front here. And also, I just love how the oil smells. It has this really organic smell to it. If you don't use any kind of harsh chemicals with your thinners, it's really pleasant. What smells bad with oils is just the spirits. So you buy the odorless one, or buy fresh paint and don't use one at all. There's two things that people complain with oils. One is they smell bad, and secondly, they say it's hard to clean up after them. So if you understand that it's not really the oil that smells bad, but the thinner, then you can work around that and find the thinner that doesn't smell that bad. And about the cleanup, if you buy the green turpentine, find it like Home Depot or Lowe's or any of these stores, it cleans up your paint so good. Really, all you need to do is just dip your brush in it and it will just be consumed in there. So you don't really need to do a big job with the cleanup. All right, so I got something to start with. I have a placement of a few flowers. Now I can start building a little bit of the petals. And also the middle here is too dark. Daisies have a yellow bright middle to it, so I'm just going to remove that again so I can pile up lighter colors. You cannot really pile up light on top of a dark wet color. And then maybe here to remove a little bit. So I have to be a lot. Just what comes out easily with your paper towel. So look how this looks now, like a polka dotted weird thing as I was keep twisting it around. Now this is how the canvas looks like. It has so much variety of colors, and I just use 3 colors, just the primaries. Very rich. All right, now I'm gonna have to clean up a bit this brush. A lot of oil painting artists, and again, there's so many ways to paint, and I'm not claiming that this is the best way, or this is just one way I discovered that's really enjoyable. So many oil painting artists use a variety of brushes. I use just this one brush. Just wipe it enough. If it feels like it's too loaded, you can dip it a little bit on your mineral spirits and just remove some of the excess. I just don't like to have to clean a lot of brushes. So it's pretty clean. It's not squeaky clean, but it's not gonna really do much. It's not gonna tint my color much. So now I'm gonna look to put some of this nice, I don't know how it's called, like maybe a pistil or something like that. Here, the middle of that flower. So I'm gonna try to make a nice little orange. Here I'm mixing my yellows and my reds, but I'm not using a lot of paint, very thin. Just adding, as I'm trying to create some sort of a volume here. Again, imagine you pick up a direction where the light comes from. If it comes from here, then you'll have lighter on top and slightly darker at the bottom there. I'm gonna put something darker here, but I don't want it to be too red. I still want to stay with more like an orangey. And there, just a little bit. Remove my excess. And then add some of whatever dark I have already here on the palette for the bottom part. Just to create that nice 3D effect of volume. We are like magicians who trick the eye to make something look 3D on a 2D surface. It's really just all trickery. We learn as painters to create space, the illusion of space, on a flat surface, on a 2D surface. And that's what painting is. Even if you paint abstract, non-representational, you still want to create the illusion of space on your canvas. All right, I got that. Since I have something dark, I'm gonna go and add, maybe I put a little bit of yellow in it to create some impression of a dark green here for my for my flower that's closed up here. It's held by, I don't know the name for this part of the flower. It's the part that holds. And maybe I'll also do like a little impression of a stem here maybe. And since I have this dark, let's come here and add a bit of that for this flower middle too. I enjoy painting with the whole painting at once, because everything in painting is relational. What's next to what? They all influence each other. So if you spend too much time finishing one area, but then you go and finish something here, it might change what happened there, because they have a relationship with each other. So that's the reason why I like to paint with my whole painting at once. Spend a little time here, there, so I can build it together. I can create these relationships as I go with my painting. All right, I'm gonna have to clean up this a little bit again if I want to get my lighter colors in it. So now I'm gonna use just a little bit of this white to get a bright yellow here. I'm really messy with my palette. I'm not really well organized with it, just because I paint so fast and I finish quick. I don't feel the need to get too neat, but if there's something you enjoy, for sure do it. Something brighter there. I think a good instructor encourages individuality. They don't want uniformity. They don't want all the paintings of their students to look the same. You gotta encourage your participants to develop their own. You teach them the principle, and then you let them go and apply it in their own unique way. You know what they say, like, don't give them fish, teach them how to fish. It's sort of like that. You teach them the principle of painting, but then you let them go, each student, and apply them in their own way. And that's what I think it makes a good teacher, good painting instructors. And they're not all artists are good teachers, That's all fine. I'm introducing a little bit of some greens in here just for variety. See, I've so learned this. It's just like it became instinctual to me. I don't even think about it. It's just like it propels me, it pushes, like I have a gut feeling that say, that color was just too orange, too of the same. I added a little bit of dots of green in there, just to have a variety. Maybe here, it cannot be too much light because it's, underneath everything. But I can suggest a little bit of stem here in the light part, since I said light comes from here. All right. Now, what I'm gonna do next, see, I don't even know what I did that, but I love it. It's just sometimes let yourself, don't rationalize everything. I teach an intuitive painting class where we really learn to explore through gut feeling rather than some analytical method or applying formulas. There's nothing wrong with formulas, but sometimes something really special comes out of some spontaneous impulse that you follow. All right. Probably I don't need so much pink, but rather maybe light blue for the petals. So I'm just gonna add some of this lighter paint to pop up some of these petals. Maybe I did too much. Squinting also helps a lot. Adding a few bits and pieces. I'm very delicate. I'm not pressing too much, because when you press a lot with the oils, it just picks up the colors from underneath, So it's such a light touch. It's almost like wanting to touch a butterfly. You don't want to touch it too much, because you can kill it. Very, very delicate light strokes. Something like that. Varying the color again. I have some yellow, some blues in that. And maybe some over here. It's so funny how this phone decided to ring when it hardly ever rings. Something like that. Maybe more of the yellows too. Maybe even some of these pinks. Just something easy. It's like you can get something so quick, so fast. I'm always impressed with that. How you don't really need a lot of time to come up with something pretty cool. So this is my tiny little play today. I think I'm gonna stop now. I hope you will give it a shot and try it, and then post in some comments to see what you painted today. I really love to see what you guys did with the watercolor roses the other day. Let's see what you can do with these. We need some distraction from these everyday stresses, and painting is a lovely way to do that. I added some darker colors around just to pop it a little bit more. That's what I'm doing here. All right, I like to look at it in different ways. You can sometimes understand better the space by looking at it differently. So here's the tiny quick painting. Hope you enjoy this subtractive method, and you will give it a try, and maybe you'll come up with something even greater. I was planning to do another demonstration for acrylic today at 1 o'clock, but I've decided that maybe I should space them out and do it on Saturday at 10 a.m. And then I will have Tuesdays at 10 a.m. watercolors, Thursdays at 10 a.m. oils, like today, and then Saturdays at 10 a.m. Acrylics. and then we can have some fun together. What you think? Let me know your thoughts. I miss my students. I miss teaching classes so much. I hope this this whole virus situation with find a solution and we can go back to normal. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Have a great, fantastic day. And let's paint.